Meet Antonio. He's a highly successful investor, navigating the 2026 tech boom. His portfolio is packed with AI startups, renewable energy projects, and international business ventures. On paper, his net worth easily crosses into the tens of millions. This graph shows Antonio's actual financial reality. The massive block represents his illiquid investments, assets that are highly valuable but cannot be easily sold. Down at the bottom is his liquid cash. He is in a position the financial world calls asset-rich but cash-poor. This imbalance becomes an immediate problem when his friend Bassanio asks for financial backing. Bassanio needs capital to impress Portia, a brilliant CEO who looks for integrity and character over flashy status symbols. Antonio wants to help, but his money is locked away. It's a common trap for investors. Possessing a massive fortune on paper does not mean you have the actual purchasing power to spend when a crucial opportunity arises. To get the cash quickly, Antonio turns to Shylock. Shylock operates a private lending firm entirely outside the traditional banking system. He provides fast capital, but years of bitter business conflicts have left him harboring a deep personal resentment toward Antonio. Shylock agrees to the loan, but he embeds a devastating penalty clause. If Antonio misses a single payment, he must transfer total control of his largest investment holdings directly to Shylock. Antonio signs the agreement without a second thought. He assumes his investments will mature long before the loan comes due, placing complete faith in his financial models and market forecasts. He treats his spreadsheets as guaranteed facts. But in investing, absolute certainty in your predictions usually sets the stage for a catastrophic failure. This abstract bar chart visualizes exactly what happens next. A sudden global economic slowdown hits the market, and those towering red pillars representing AI startup valuations begin plummeting into a dark void. Almost overnight, market volatility spikes, private equity funding vanishes, and the steady cash flows Antonio expected dry up completely, triggering widespread panic among investors. This flowchart illustrates Antonio's financial paralysis. As you can see, his portfolio assets are turning gray and becoming padlocked. He can't sell his holdings fast enough to raise money because the market has frozen, and his central cash reserve is draining down to nothing. Right as that central cash reserve hits zero, the loan deadline arrives. Antonio is experiencing a severe liquidity crisis. Technically, his assets still hold value on paper, so he is not entirely bankrupt, but he doesn't have physical cash to pay the debt he owes today. When the bill finally comes due and the lender demands immediate payment, a high net worth on a spreadsheet offers zero protection. Shylock immediately demands enforcement of the contract. Driven by years of personal bitterness, he refuses any extensions, negotiations, or compromises, insisting on the absolute maximum penalty. The dispute spills into a massive public courtroom, sparking a global debate over strict rules versus financial mercy. Here, Portia steps in, acting as a legal strategist to analyze the precise terms of the debt. She studies every single clause and finds a critical limitation. The agreement legally entitled Shylock to seize the specific assets, but it strictly forbids him from inflicting any unwritten collateral damage to Antonio's wider financial empire in the process. By forcing a microscopic, literal adherence to the rules, the court blocks Shylock from tearing apart Antonio's remaining businesses. Antonio takes a heavy loss, but he survives. Financial contracts are designed to be rigid, but when a lender tries to weaponize that rigidity purely for personal vindictiveness, they often overlook crucial details that undermine their own case. Antonio nearly lost everything because of a flawed approach to risk management. He built his strategy around the assumption that he could predict future market behavior, rather than preparing for the unexpected. Looking at this balanced portfolio pie chart, the highlighted slice labeled liquid emergency reserves is the solution. Holding accessible cash is an absolute necessity to survive unpredictable market shocks. The crisis also reveals the danger of letting pride, revenge, or emotional history dictate high-stakes agreements. Emotion clouds judgment on both sides of a contract. Keeping wealth over the long term requires solid risk buffers and a margin of safety, not just aggressive growth projections. We can trace these modern dilemmas over digital equity straight back to the 16th century origins of maritime trade and debt. A modern tech investor with money locked up in failing startups is facing the exact same problem as a historical merchant whose entire fortune was trapped on a wooden ship crossing a dangerous ocean. Whether you measure a fortune in artificial intelligence algorithms or crates of silk and spices, the mechanical traps of debt and illiquidity work exactly the same way. Overconfidence, greed, and the illusion of certainty are deeply embedded traits. They do not evolve just because our tools get faster. The architecture of global markets will constantly change, but human nature remains the one unchangeable variable in every financial crisis.